What's happening, everybody?
Good morning.
What's happening? Good morning. Or if they're on the East Coast, good afternoon. Hello, having a good day, I hope, in the afternoon on the East Coast.
I wanted to sing the Rocky theme because you had
Oh,
that.
go ahead.
No, I'm not going to. I
Go
just said
ahead.
I wanted to because of the title
We
you
don't want to
created.
hear about that, okay? We don't want to hear about your intentions,
Right.
your wants.
Mm-hmm.
We want follow through. We want action.
It isn't going to happen.
Oh, that's pretty rude.
Candace is just waking up at 2 o'clock.
That's
well,
right.
Good morning to you.
We're okay with that. Simply Dana says, hello, Katie and Vikki. My first live with you both. Time to rise up. Rising up.
You don't know the words.
Yeah, that's not the other part of it. Personally, if we're gonna go with Stallone's, I like to go with Frank Stallone from the movie Staying Alive.
Oh my goodness. Yes, it's on her playlist. I listen to it frequently.
Yeah.
It's a song I could not have named a year ago, but now I know every word. Oh, I see Lisa Hildreth in the chat. She took a little break from the eBay in for a bit. Hope things are well with you, Lisa.
Hello, Lisa. Anyway, it's Wednesday, so it's Boss Up and List Day. And what is Boss Up and List Day? What does Boss Up and List even mean? Tell us.
Boss Up and List is our all-day virtual listing party that we host in the Boss Facebook group, which is the best Facebook group. Mm-hmm. The link is down below. If you are not in the group, you should be. All the cool kids are. And basically, that's the day specifically that we talk about our goals for the day, sometimes the goals for the week. And we check in and hold each other accountable in a virtual chat thread. And at 11 o'clock, Pacific time, we take a break. Mm-hmm. We take a break. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of our businessy show, as I say. Indeed. Sunday's more of our silly show where we talk about hauls and finds and sales and numbers. But we're a little more silly on that show.
Yeah. A little more fun.
So this one is the one that we talk about business-related stuff. If there are changes on the platform, if there are issues on the platform, not that we ever have any of those.
Never. Mm-hmm. Never.
And, we talk about our sponsors. We talked about taxes before. We talked about all kinds of stuff. So
if you want to talk about our silly show, our really silly show is No Pants Friday After Dark, the new iteration of our No Pants Friday show, which had gone away for a while.
Iteration, good word.
What am I, a child?
You can be smart sometimes.
Anyway, No Pants Friday After Dark. You guys, our next episode of No Pants Friday After Dark is coming this Friday. This Friday, y'all.
2 days.
And 2 days, what does that mean?
It's in
2 days from now. I guess that's true. I'm like, 2 days. Oh, yeah, it's Wednesday. Shut your mouth.
Wow.
Anyway, iteration. I'm smart. Anyway, Friday night, No Pants Friday, we are having our very own favorite DuPage picker, Greg, the DuPage picker. He's going to be on our show, so we're really excited about that. He's going to be the first dude on our No Pants Friday show because so far we've only had the ladies. So
we've only had a couple.
You shut your mouth.
Okay.
You shut your mouth. I don't need your naysaying, okay? You're talking about how you wanted to sing, but there's no singing going on. Nope. We don't need to hear from you right now.
Debbie says she has 2 days to lose her pants.
Okay. I think you can do it. I believe in you, Debbie.
Rick Dorn, Thrift Fever, says nobody wears pants in Florida. Just saying.
Well, that's true. That's Florida. So.
Our friend Lou, that just moved here to Vegas from Rhode Island, says that pants strangle his legs.
It's true. When they go out like for a nicer night out, he wears his jeans. That's like his dressing up.
His leg strangulating attire.
But anyway, so Friday night we are going to have No Pants Friday After Dark, our newest episode, and we are going to have the DuPage picker, or as I like to call him, DuPage picker. Greg will be on, so I think it's going to be a really fun show. I'm excited to have him on. But anyway, that's like our really silly show. Really silly show.
Get ready, because we ask a lot of silly questions, but we also get a little goofy, and partly because I think it's just Friday night and we're done and exhausted from the week.
I mean, normally I'm very serious. Okay?
Yes.
I'm very serious.
You're clearly the serious one.
I'm the serious one. Yeah. That's like you. So you guys, I don't know if I've ever said anything about this before. It might have come up in the past, but it was like forever ago. So Vikki grew up being called, like her name's Victoria, but she grew up being called Vikki. What were some of the horrible things people called you?
Tricky Vicky, Sticky Vicky,
Icky
Hickey Vicky,
Icky Vicky. What?
Mhm.
And so then
anything that rhymes with icky.
Yeah. So then when she was still just a young whippersnapper, she went into the big old world of what was it? Mortgages, banking
finance.
and mortgages.
Mm-hmm.
And so then she became Victoria. She wasn't Vicky. She wasn't Vicky. She was Victoria.
Vicky. That's how your sister says it.
Vicky. Because listen, girls named Vicky are not taken seriously, but women named Victoria are taken seriously. Okay. Mm-hmm. Like a take me seriously name, because I'm certainly not Catherine. Like, I'm just Katie. There's no
Catherine.
Call me Katrina. I don't know. That sounds weird.
It does sound weird.
I'm just Katie.
There is a Garbage Pail Kid called Icky Vicky Trina. I'm pretty darn sure there is one.
Yeah, and for any of you that have seen the second part of the whole It series, the 2 movies of It, the second one, there is a part where there's a little girl in there, and the clown says, "Hello, Victoria," and then he says something like, "I bet your friends call you Vicky." It's like really super creepy, and then he like licks her face. So that was that's pretty awesome. I want to find that like in just one little clip so that I can basically harass you with it constantly.
Because you don't harass me constantly already with everything else.
Vintage God. Violet says, "It's a queen's name, damn it."
It is. It is, damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a family name for me. So it's my great-great-grandmother's name, my great-grandmother's name, my grandmother's middle name, my mother's middle name, and my first name.
Mm-hmm.
And I broke the trend because I named my daughter Alexandria.
Yeah. Oh, so Sandra says, "I was Sandy, then Sandy, and then Sandra." So Sandra, my question is, because I mean, obviously Sandy and Sandy are the same other than spelling. Was there like at some point when you were like in middle school, you decided that the Y wasn't cool and you were like, "I'm going to be Sandy with an I"? Is that what happened? Or did somebody else rebrand you?
I don't know.
Did you ever have,
can I listen for, I just want to
check
it. So Rick says, I was a mortgage broker for years, worked for Domestic Bank in Cranston, worked from home in Florida. Rick, I swear, Domestic Bank was one of my clients. I was the account executive for Countrywide, so for many, many years. I bet we've done business together.
Yeah.
Especially if you were doing that back in the day when Domestic was one of my big clients. So anyway, that's kind of funny. We've probably done business together.
Yeah, see, Sandra says it was the 80s and Sandy was cooler.
Mm-hmm,
yeah, for sure. Okay, Allison Big Drift Rift, which, as you guys all know, anytime Allison comes up, you have to say BDT. Thanks to Deb and Melody. So, listen, apparently Allison had an Uncle Vicky. Was it really spelled the same way?
Are you really believing this?
Yeah, I'm going to believe it.
Okay.
He gets blushing. What, you don't have an Uncle Vicky?
No.
Did you, when you were in school, was there ever a girl that like changed her name completely? Like not just changed like the spelling or like whether go by short or long. There were a couple of girls that like pulled the old Prince. P. Diddy.
My mom used to spell my name Vicky, Vicky, and my mom spelled it that way until I was 10. That was my nickname, was Vicky. Mm-hmm. When I was 10, I discovered Nikki Sixx and Ricky Rocket, and they spell it.
So what you're saying is that the way we spell your name is like is a lie.
Mm-hmm.
It's like based on a lie.
It's a nickname. You can spell your nickname any way you want.
But it was spelled one way for a long time.
For 10 years.
It's just like any name. Well, it's my name. I can spell it however.
And it's been spelled 34 years.
I'm just saying, guys.
It's not my legal name. It's my nickname.
I'm going to start spelling my name C-A-Y-T-E-E. No, 3s. E-E. Okay. And I don't see what the problem is with that.
Oh,
I don't see why that's an issue. And I demand that you spell it that way at all times. So, all right. So we've got some things to cover today, but as usual, like any business related questions that you might have, we're happy to answer them. Really, any questions we're happy to answer. But let's talk. See, Alexis is already on board. CAYTEEE. So I think that's great.
All right.
I'm down with that. That's what everyone's going to call me now. Oh, that's awful. She looks awful. Awesome. So G Jassa says PETA is my nickname also. Is that like
pain in the ass?
Pain in the ass? Because I think
that would be what my grandpa used to call me. So I don't know.
I never had a nickname. I was always bummed about it. But my sister, of course, you guys know her as Binky. I was always jealous of her awesome nickname because it is pretty cool. Anyway, so let's talk about, okay, obviously let's get into the item specifics thing. Still not totally resolved. Still somewhat of an issue. You know, I do want to say, you know, we were talking about this last night. I do want to say, like, we appreciate that eBay is, it seems like they have actually listened to people as far as, you know, from the very beginning, there were a lot of complaints about them not talking to us, them not communicating.
Right. When there have been issues in the past, there's been a radio silence.
And this time too, let's be clear, this time
for the
too,
first
for
few
the
days.
first few days, you know, and listen, we've talked about this before. We get it. When you have an issue that hasn't been resolved yet, you know, there's a company is going to be careful about what information they put out there, how they answer questions. But, you know, we were saying again and again, listen, even if you don't have a solution, we just want to hear communication directly from eBay in one central location that says, hey, we are aware of whatever the issue is and, you know, whatever's going on at any given time. We are working on it. We will give you more information when we can. And then not to go silent for days at a time. And so they finally have stepped up.
I think so.
They are every day.
I think the updates every day. I mean, I do think that the chat inside the community boards was a big flop, but I mean,
nobody uses those. And
they
honestly,
attempted it, but the updates on Seller Hub have been good. The fact that they're actually doing it and they're communicating every day has been good. And I do appreciate that. That's something they should keep up.
There's one place every day.
Yeah, I think that's where you should go to get your information.
Right.
Now, that being said, we have that last update was a good update. I absolutely agree with that, Jen. I think it was a good update. I think it was thorough and I think it explained things, which is where it should have been for a while. I realize that they're trying to figure this out on the fly. They did not anticipate this happening and they've had to figure out what the hell went wrong and then how to fix it. So I get that part. You know, I'm not obviously not happy about the things that have changed. I don't think anybody is. Some people seem to have been far more affected than others. There are a lot of people who say that their sales have not been affected at all. There are some people that are saying they're having great, you know, a great week or a great last couple of weeks, which is fantastic. Awesome. Good for you. Normally this time of the year, I am doing far better than I am. I'm down about 70% right now for the last 8 days. I am still selling, and for 2 days out of this week, my sales have been good. So, I mean, I've been on the platform a very long time that I can look at my historical sales data for this week and this month for the last several years. This is very, very bad for me. So that being said, you know, some people it's affected. Vintage clothing categories have not been affected.
Sportswear, like, you know, I list stuff like if it's for the NFL, if it's jacket, it goes under that because that's the category that automatically auto filters to when somebody searches. That hasn't been affected, which is nice.
Yeah, so it's been, you know, you know what, Sandra, I kind of felt bad for Steve Kafka, the guy from, I felt bad for him in the live chat too, because honestly, he looked horrified.
It was frustrating that they came in and they were like, we're only going to do this for 15 minutes. And they went way over by like 5 minutes. I feel like
I felt bad that they're, you know, they were getting attacked and,
for sure.
And that had to have been a very uncomfortable you know, room to be in, dodging all those questions. So again, that being said, we can't fix anything. Here the reality is that these specifications and required specifics have rolled out. There's the required and then there's the suggested. Suggested are a little bit ridiculous in a lot of categories, and they realize that and they are trying to dial that back. So just fill in what you would normally fill in. Don't go crazy. You know, add a few extras if they appeal to you or you think it's going to appeal to the buyer. Make your item specifics are important. We've been talking about that for a long time, that you should always try to fill it in as properly as possible, especially your sizes and your colors, and don't make up colors and don't put patterns where colors should be. Don't put blue and red, pick one of the two, that type of thing. Don't create your own because that's how the search is going to be most efficient. So there are a few things. A lot of people are saying that you don't need to make changes. eBay is saying you don't need to make changes on things like size. That is true. They are in the process of transferring over your size categories. They're patching it through on the back end. They've done it on the majority of categories. Some have not transferred yet, or I don't know if they're going to, but they have done the size patch. There are some specifics like the UPC area where you would put your UPC code, or you would use the drop down that say does not apply. There's no drop down anymore, but you can skip it. You don't have to type in does not apply, and that's going to be transferring over all the listings you've already done that have said that had does not apply. They're going to transfer over. So those are two fixes that they've said are going to happen. The other things, such as color and some of the other required specifics and categories, required specifics, I'm saying, not suggested. They're not things that are going to transfer over, and they're not going to go away. So the reality is, if you are going to ever put your store on vacation, or if you are going to end listings and sell similar as your good till canceled listings get stale, which you should be doing at some point, whether it's 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, whatever works for you, you have to make these changes. So the reality is that you do need to go in and edit your listings. You may not need to do them to be seen in search at this moment. But you still are going to need to go in and change them all.
Well, here's how I see it. They've done a temporary fix so that when you go in and search something, like if you're searching like a vintage Rolling Stones t-shirt and you drill down by the size, you want to see a large. If you had large in your listing originally, but it's saying in your required item specifics that's still blank right now, if somebody drills down to a large, it will show up. So your listing should be being seen. So the panic over getting things fixed right away shouldn't be there. And what they're saying is that as long as you don't touch that listing, it'll be fine. However, as Vicki's saying, this is the way I see it. However, at some point, it's not going to be fine. And they've even said, I've heard from eBay, they've even said that at some point next year, they are going to require those things to be fixed. And now they're talking about how they're working on a solution right now, and sometime in the next week or so, they think they're going to be able to take those old listing item specifics that you had and put them into the required field. Great, that's awesome. However, guess what? Sometimes they say things are going to happen and they don't happen. And it's not because they're lying, but maybe because they aren't able to make it happen.
Yeah, they aren't able to make the programming work the way that they want to.
So there is a possibility that's not going to be fixed for us. In my opinion, there is a possibility that's not going to be fixed for us. And at some point down the road, it will be required, even though they are saying we don't have to fix things now. So in my opinion, the way I see it, I would rather take the time to go ahead and fix those listings myself and to have it taken care of, so I don't have to worry about it later. So I don't have to worry later down the road that any of my listings are being impacted, any of my listings are being suppressed, any issues. And guess what? Is there a downside to that? Well, it's not going to hurt your listings. It's going to take you a little bit of time.
The downside is time.
The downside is time, but you're not hurting your listings. Now, the downside of not doing it and listening to eBay and not touching any of those listings and just assuming that they're going to be fixed in the future is that later on you're still going to have to go back and do this, possibly. So the way I see it is that, is this the end of the world? Absolutely not. However, I would rather take control of my own listings and go in and make sure that those things are fixed myself now, rather than wait a week or two or however long to maybe get a fix from eBay, maybe not get a fix from eBay, and then a year from now, 6 months from now, them saying like, okay, now we're requiring it. We've given you enough time to update all your listings and have those required item specifics in there. Now you have to have it done. And then we're going on vacation. We need to change all of our whatever, and we're screwed. That's how I feel. That's my personal opinion. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm working on. That's what you're working on. So it is what it is.
Now, I do want to point out one of the things, if you did not notice it in the last update, they've said it in the last couple of updates. Again, you need to read the words that they're saying. This does not affect existing listings. You don't need to fix existing listings. Again, that means that you are going to need to change the listings as you do, if you do delist and sell similar, or end and sell similar, or as you're creating new listings, you got to make sure your specifics are in there properly. If you change your handling time because you go on vacation or something like that, or have an issue, you need to change your handling time, it's not going to allow you to make those changes until you have fixed the listings. So
I would rather do it now than
I don't want to try to do this an hour before I go on vacation and realize I can't go on vacation. I have 2,500 listings that need editing. That would make me bonkers, right?
Well, it's like here, so the reel says, I'm just fixing a few a day. Maybe by mid-November, it'll be done. Yeah, I mean, we're not, honestly, like I have not spent like an entire day or anything like that. I'm able to bang out, like get through a couple hundred listings within like a half hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's also not only clothing. There are several categories that have been affected. And, I can tell you that the way to figure it out would be to go and try to put your store on vacation. And it'll give you an error and tell you how many they're not able to change or something like that. Change your handling time and maybe not save it, but just get an idea of how many you have. If you only have 600 listings and there's 50 affected, great, go and fix them.
Yeah.
You know, I'm pretty sure I have several hundred. The app is showing some listings that have issues, but it's not showing all of them. So
it tells me I have eight items that are missing required item specifics, and that's just not true. And then there's also the problem that when you go in and edit anything in the app, it does, I mean, I don't know if it happens to everybody, but I know for some people it does change things on your listings. Like I know for you, it changed your business policies and like added new business policies and changed them to calculated domestic and all this stuff. And so it was kind of a cluster. Luckily, it was only a handful of listings that happened to, but that's why I never do anything. I never edit anything through my app because I don't want to mess anything up. So it is what it is. So basically it just comes down to, you got to decide for yourself. We personally are going ahead and editing ours.
I'm going to try to be proactive at it. You know, I think I did about 125 yesterday, and I'm going to try to do another 50 to 75. I'm going to try to do 50 a day. I can commit to 50 a day because we're going to show you in a minute a pretty quick way to do it. And it's not using bulk edit because bulk edit is really not working well that way.
Yeah.
But it's fairly fast this way. So,
well, when I say I'm editing, I'm not going in and doing all of the additional, you know, there's all, because right now the item specifics are still all messed up where basically they've merged like everything all together. So that's why it's asking you for like shoe width on a t-shirt, you know, listing or whatever. And so there's all this extra stuff. So I'm just not even looking at that right now. For my new listings, I am trying to go in and I'm adding some of the additional stuff. However, but with fixing stuff, as far as like just going in and doing a quick fix, I'm only looking at the required item specifics just because I just want to get through it quickly. And so eventually at some point down the road, when I go through and I do end items and do sell similar, I will go in and make sure I add additional stuff that I think will help the listing. I'm just not taking that on right now. Should I go ahead and show?
Yeah, I'm going to get to it. I want to answer a few questions because we've been babbling. So there's been some questions. Lori asked, how did I find out my shipping policies had changed? If you go into your business policies, go into listings and on the left, click on business policies. It'll show you. If you're someone that uses business policies, it's going to show you very quickly that there's been copies or new listings created. I think I only have 8 or 9 normally, and it had created like 3 or 4 additional ones, and there were a bunch of listings in there. So that was how I figured it out.
Hold on, everybody.
We've had a few questions.
No,
Kent's in the house.
Kent needs everyone to know that he's here now. Okay, so there we go.
Let's see. So we've had. Let's see. Susie Beach has asked a couple of times. Do we have a how to sell on Etsy video? We do not.
Have a list. No, we don't.
How to list on Etsy. We probably should do one. But that actually leads to a good segue for us to talk about one of our sponsors here. And one of our sponsors is List Perfectly. If you have not seen our show, we did a show with the girls from List Perfectly a couple of months ago. And I will say that my sales being down as horribly as they have been the last 7 or 8 days, List Perfectly has helped me in that I now have my a lot of listings on Mercari and Etsy. And because I've been able to cross-post my listings to other platforms and added a 3rd platform, I have been able to have about $600 or $700 in sales between Etsy and Mercari in the last week. And that's kind of saved my butt.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to say, we'll talk a little bit more about List Perfectly here in a second, but I wanted to say that, you know, ideally, stuff like this would never happen. We would never have, you know, no platforms would ever have a glitch or an issue or anything that would affect your bottom line, affect your sales. But I will say what happens when things are always going right is it's really easy to just get comfortable with your routine and just kind of keep doing the same old thing. And so for me, it was, you know, just listing on eBay. And it really took something significant happening. And for me, it was the pictures last year. And it took that and that kind of panic over like so many lost sales that it made me go and start doing my Etsy. And now it's making me go and do my Instagram. And luckily now there are tools like List Perfectly.
Yeah. So List Perfectly is, you know, yes, someone asked it there. Last time I checked, there was a wait list. There is a wait list, but if you don't sign up, you're never going to get on. Right now, the wait list is, I think it's like 5 to 7 days. I'm not even sure it's even that long. You know, about 2 months ago, when we first started talking about List Perfectly, there were a lot of growing pains for the first few weeks because they exploded very, very quickly coming back from eBay Open. They did not anticipate the thousands and thousands of people that were coming onto the platform. It was overwhelming.
Because
And
there's
it
nothing out there
overwhelmed-
like it.
It overwhelmed their servers and their tech, and there were some growing pains, absolutely. But if you were, they did address them very quickly, and if you were able to stick with them, it's been very smooth now for the last several weeks. The influx of people they can now handle. They are onboarding people at a slower rate instead of 5,000 in one day. That was a bit overwhelming, and it overwhelmed their server. So now that there is a smaller waiting list, I believe it's under a week. So Teresa Club Red said the wait list is short right now, so that's under a week. And if you sign up, I have nothing bad to say about the program. I think the ladies are fantastic.
Well,
I think the program is fantastic. It's super easy and
growing,
smooth, and it's getting better. It's getting better every time. It's so easy. I love the fact that if you're listing on one platform and you're a very small seller and you really only need to cross post 30 items, then no, maybe it's not the program for you. List Perfectly is for a moderate to larger seller, that is moderate size to larger seller that is trying to grow their business. It is a business program. It's not a program for someone that has a very small hobby sell. It just isn't, because why would you pay for something if you can do it yourself when you have very, very small sales volume? It's something for someone that's trying to get to the next level or wants to increase their business.
Yeah. Well, and I want to say for me, like right now, the way I operate is I list on eBay and Etsy at the same time, and I have not added any other platforms yet. I have told the List Perfectly team that once they add Grailed, I'm jumping all over it because of the type of stuff that I sell. But I do want to say, when I very first started, so when I'm doing it simultaneously, it works for me. But when I was cross-posting old eBay listings to Etsy, and I didn't have the pictures readily available, one of the things that made that like a real pain in the ass is that I had to download all the pictures from my eBay listing, and then I had to go over and upload them to my Etsy listing, and it just took like a lot of time. It was really super tedious.
Right, that's what we were doing.
And so it just takes a lot of time. So that's, to me, one of the really awesome features of List Perfectly is that when you are cross-posting, when you're taking listings that are already on your eBay or already on other platforms, it automatically moves those pictures over, right? Am I correct?
Yes.
You don't have to download them?
Don't download anything.
So how does that work? It just
very quickly, in under 30 seconds.
Yeah. To me,
takes all of your pertinent information, takes all of your photographs, takes your title, your listing, your price, takes everything, and it'll take everything from eBay and send it out. I can't speak to Posh because I've never used Posh, and I've never used Tradesy, so I don't know what those platforms look like. Right now, I'm listening to Etsy and Mercari, and everything is just, it works with List Perfectly. Magic. Teresa says, yes, it's magic, but it's so fast. And at first, there were a lot of people when they onboarded, thousands and thousands of people, there were some struggles with the speed in which that was happening. And that had to do with somewhat the server, but it also has to do with you and what you're using as what your internet speed is, because the faster and better your internet is, the faster the program works for you, because it's an internet-based program.
I think the whole picture thing is like a really huge selling point because of the time that it will save you as far as cross-posting old listings as opposed to doing new stuff. And so what are all the platforms that it can start from? Because I know you can list directly on List Perfectly, but you can also start from eBay, and now you can start from Poshmark. What else?
eBay, Poshmark, Etsy.
You can start from Etsy?
I think you can start from Etsy.
Teresa, can you clarify or verify which platforms people can start from? Because not everybody's like us. Not everybody has eBay as their number one platform. There are a lot of people who only list on Poshmark.
Yeah, you can start from all 5 platforms.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and here's the thing. I have the pro level listing, which is one of the higher ones. With the only one higher is the one where you create your own private specific templates. So I use the pro level, and I try to start my new listings, my new clothing listings, inside List Perfectly, because when you start your listing in List Perfectly and send it out to the other platforms, if it's going to more than 1 or 2, if you're starting a listing and only putting it on eBay, then it probably isn't the best use of your time to be starting it on List Perfectly, because why wouldn't you just do it on eBay? Because that is creating more work. But if you're doing it on List Perfectly and you're going to at least 2 other platforms, it's already optimized for SEO because of the questions and the drop downs and the fill-ins that you have to do. Your photo is already absolutely, the correct specifications for all of the platforms. It's just It's fantastic. Anyway, so I can't say enough things about the program. I love it. I really have not had the time to work it as much as I want to. I absolutely need and want to get more of my items cross-posted to Mercari. I'm just having hard enough time keeping up with my daily work as it is.
Right.
I need another 2 of me.
Well, yeah, and again, even with List Perfectly, it's like you need to choose the platforms that you can commit to and really put in the time that you need to put in, because you can cross list over to Poshmark, but you still have work to do on that platform. So you got to make a decision about what you're going to be focusing on. So for me, I'm focusing on Instagram, which, by the way, guys, I would like to report in for a little accountability. I have been every single day adding stuff to my A Boutique for Him Instagram account. I've been doing it every single day. So I'm trying to keep up on that. I really want, I know it's going to take a while to build up an audience, but I do want to get to a point where I can make some money through Instagram. So yeah, and I would like to talk about Kent. I feel like he's throwing you some shade right now.
Yep.
And it's very rude.
Kent.
Very rude.
Kent. I know, it's real bad. I'm getting my hair did tomorrow. Sorry, guys. My roots are rough.
So Kent, join
Thanks,
us.
Kent.
Join us for No Pants Friday after dark. And
my roots will be fresh.
Them roots you love so much are going to be gone. Okay?
Simply Dana, and if several people have asked, has List Perfectly updated where it automatically ends your other listings when sold? It is something they're working on. It has not happened yet. That's the update. There's been like 5 or 6 questions about that. It has not happened yet. The only way that it's going to be able to work is if you list your item in List Perfectly and it's in their catalog. Otherwise, there's not. I don't think that there's any way that it can work. So that would mean that you'd have to have all of your listings in the catalog. Oh, I'm wrong. I'm wrong, Teresa. Sorry.
Well, I think. I think one of the issues, and this is just my theory, and Teresa, can say that, can yell wrong in all caps at me too. One of the things is the way, so originally when List Perfectly was happening, people were like saying like, oh, it goes against policy of these different platforms because it's a bot or whatever, but it's really not, because the way it works is all it's doing is launching a listing screen.
See, that's what I just said, Teresa.
Yeah.
She told me I was wrong before I even got my sentence out, woman.
If you save your listings. Well, so Teresa, my question is, how does it work? Because the way it works when you list originally through List Perfectly is really all it's doing is launching those listing screens. And then you have to actually go in and manually hit post, because it's not posting for you. So I'm really curious to know how
it's not posting for you.
Well, don't you
You've never even been on List Perfectly, don't you?
I'm asking you. Doesn't it launches the screen. So if let's say you're posting to Etsy, you hit Etsy, it opens up the screen, and then you go through it, check it real quick, and then you hit list, don't you?
Of course.
Okay.
You have to. There's in every one you have.
And you're looking at me like I'm wrong.
I don't know.
Okay.
All right. This is not a List Perfectly advertisement. So can we move on?
Please let me finish what I'm saying. My point is, having something delist for you, that is it actually going in and doing something automated for you. And I'm curious about how that's going to work. But anyway, whatever.
It's the way that it's supposed to work when you have sales on Bonanza. Bonanza automatically ends your eBay listing, but they have an API that allows them to do it. And that's the difference. So right now, if you have to, in order to make it work, like Teresa says, you have to save your listing to the catalog in List Perfectly. Is that something that may change at some point? Who knows? I know it's something that they're working on making it happen, but I haven't had any issues. So, I go and just manually end my listings when they sell on another platform. So a lot of people, there's been some questions, like Sandy had asked some questions about managed payments. Again, we don't have managed payments. So the questions about managed payments and issues with that, definitely direct those toward Teresa in the group. Teresa has a specific smaller group for people that are in managed payments, only people that are currently in there, so they can deal with and ask questions. There's definitely neither of us use it.
Yeah.
There
was definitely an issue with managed payments where a bunch of people, I don't know how many sellers, but a bunch of sellers were delayed in getting their payments for quite a bit, for an extended amount of time. And so obviously that was a concern. I don't know what the issue was or how it was resolved, or if everyone's gotten their money now. I know the couple of people that we know personally that were having a real problem with this. They did get their money. But yes, it definitely was something that happened there.
Yeah, I mean, and eBay has the people that I know that were dealing with the issues were getting responses from eBay saying that it was a known issue. They were dealing with it. They were apologized. I don't know what the issue was.
Okay.
None of my business.
All right, real quick. So this is exactly what I was talking about. So Teresa has so it does not automatically end your listings on other platforms. Just what I was saying. there's a difference between you doing things yourself and you allowing, or those platforms allowing, a third party to go in and manipulate your listings. And so that's not what they do. What it is if you have it saved in your list perfectly platform, you go in and you hit that you sold it there, and then it'll automatically open up the different windows for the different platforms where it's sold, and then you have to go in and manually.
Oh, okay.
So it does make it easier to manage.
That's not, I guess it's easier than scrolling through. There's a couple of reasons why. Macari does not have a search for your listings, and I don't think Posh does either. So if you have hundreds of listings on either platform, that would make it a little easier to find it than if you were trying to go in and find the item. So
yeah, for sure, it makes it easier. But that's the difference between. So for people saying like, oh, I want it to automatically, there's a reason why that's not possible right now, and who knows if that will become possible at some point. But it's not.
I will say that's you know, Teresa said that's by design. You shouldn't let anyone auto launch or end your listings. Yeah, I personally don't see it as a deal breaker or an issue for me, because I'm not going to not sell and make money on other platforms because I have to go in and end a listing when it sells.
Well, it's not like anybody else is doing it, so it's not like, you know, List Perfectly can't do it, but somebody else can. And it's really just about giving a tool to help you better manage your listings. Anyway. All right. What else do we need to talk about? So the other things we talked about doing, No Pants Friday is going to be obviously on Friday, 2 days from now, with Greg Dupage Pick Air. But also, guys, if you haven't had enough of us right now, you've got us for about another 20 minutes. But if you're like, you know what? I need some more. I need some more Katy and Vikki. I can't get enough. I want some more eye rolls. I want some more silliness. We are actually going to be on Adam's Exploits on his YouTube show, Reselling Rhythms. And I actually have the link down below. We are going to take a break for an hour, and then we're going to be back on the YouTubles at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern. So I don't know what we're going to be talking about, but we will be.
It's up to Adam.
Yeah, it's up to Adam. So we will be on his show at 1 o'clock Pacific Time, 4 o'clock Eastern. So if you haven't had enough, join us there.
And we will not be talking about the same things we're talking about.
You don't know that. Maybe Adam's going to ask us all the same questions.
All right.
You don't know that.
Could be.
But yeah, we'll be talking about it and stuff like that.
Let's discuss the eBay call later. I don't know what eBay call you're talking about, Ken.
Yeah, I don't know
what call you're talking about, honey. All right, I did want to talk about what we're going to do is show you a quick demo of how Katy and I have been going through our listings and finding the ones that need item specifics changed. And I don't mean just the size. Again, that's the one thing that eBay is saying that they're being able to map over. Yeah. So, but there are other things, and there are other categories that are not being addressed as having issues. So
now my demo is going to only be clothing, just because that's all I do. But I'm still going to be able to show you just like how you can quickly do this. And again, we're not saying you have to do this. This is just what we're doing. This is what I feel comfortable doing.
I don't want to end up, my biggest problem is I don't want to end up trying to put my store on vacation or extend my handling time because we go away for a weekend in another week or two, and then I have 1,500 items that need changes. So I can't deal with that at a last minute. So.
Oh, so Ken's saying there's a eBay call later on. I don't know what you mean by call though. Is it on eBay for Business Live? Is it like a live video?
eBay for Business is usually at 12:30 on.
But he's a call. It sounds like a phone call. I don't know. Anyway, well, yeah, obviously if there's something like that coming up, we'll be paying attention to it, and we'll talk about it when we can. Anyway, so basically what I've been doing is personally,
Can you make it any bigger? Or
it's the whole screen. This is what they've got. But yes, I made it bigger. It's as big as it gets. Anyway, so I sorted mine by price. Yes.
I need to answer one question. Noelle said, is anyone having problems with eBay not ending your listing on eBay once it sells? I have not encountered that problem. No.
Yeah. I don't know.
If anyone else has, chime in and maybe give Noelle an answer.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I've had it happen before though, with a couple of listings, but not like a ton. Anyway, so let me just show you really quick. So I sorted mine by price, and that's kind of how I'm going. You know, each page has like 200 listings, and so I've just been doing it by 200. So I'll get through 200 and then I go do something else. But this is just how I'm doing it. And so basically, if you can't see me holding the control button down, but I am right now holding my control button down, and that's going to make it so that these listings all open up in separate tabs. And so I just go down real quick and I click on the tabs, or I click on edit, and then you can, this way I can open up multiple all in a row. And so very quickly I was able to open these all up. And so basically, like I said before, I'm not going in and doing a full overhaul of my item specifics because it would just take too much time. I just want to quickly make sure that all of my required ones are filled out. So I'm just scrolling down. You can see right here, that size is missing. So it's an XL. So I'm just going right here, click on that. I am deleting this one, removing this one right here just because of the redundancy. And then I scroll down real quick and I hit update listing. I don't wait for it to update. I go to the next one right away. This one's a medium. Medium is showing. I did do some bulk editing when this very first happened. So some of these are going to be already fixed. Another medium, medium's fixed. And so then I just close it really quick, go through. That one is in there. This one's a large, go down, click on that L, remove it there, go down, update listing, go to the next one.
You're going so fast, people can't see what you're doing.
I'm showing them how fast you can do it. This one can be edited right now. I think there's an offer out on it, so I'll go ahead and close that one for now. And then this one is a sweatshirt. That one's missing. So again, I'm clicking this M. It's a medium. Scroll down, remove it there, scroll down, hit update, go to the next one. This one's an extra large. That one's already in there because, like I said before, all the sports ones, if they're in a category like this, where it's under sports memorabilia, cards, and fan shop, fan apparel, and souvenirs, those ones were not affected by this, so that's nice. And then this is another one that has like an offer out on it. But you can go through and you can quickly, and then I go through here and I just X those out, and so now those are fixed. So that's kind of like how you can go through and kind of quickly make sure you fix those. You know, that's just how I'm doing it. And I try to keep track of the ones that have offers out, or I might go in and like cancel the offer and go ahead and fix that. So that's just how I'm doing it.
Sandy asked why remove it in the second section, because that is where they took your original size that had and just shoved. You don't need to do it, but it shoved it into another area.
Well, like I said, I don't think you have to. I'm just taking it out because I'd rather it be gone, because I'm just weird and anal about, you know, weird details. So it's not like it's a requirement. And again, like we don't know exactly the answers to anything, because, and here's the thing, it was a little bit frustrating in the chat in the community board, which half of their answers were telling people this is the chat, because people were like, where's the chat? Because a 1995 forum board is not a chat. But anyway, there were multiple times where the statement was made about how there's a lot of misinformation out in the social media and YouTube world, and that you should only be listening to things coming directly from eBay. The problem with that is that even the things coming directly from eBay are contradicting themselves, and misinformation is continuing to be sent out by eBay themselves. Not necessarily on purpose, but because they don't seem to have everybody on the same page there either. And so that's where it gets frustrating, because how can you listen to the source if the source isn't giving you accurate information?
Yeah, so there's lots of questions here.
Yes.
So Denise asked, are your daily sales numbers or totals showing up in your seller hub? Mine have shown 0 for the last few days. Mine have started to catch up, but they're still not accurate. I have my sales are showing through about half of the day yesterday. And they did say that they are slowly fixing that. I don't know what the deal is with it, but yeah. So Sandy said, how do you keep track of which ones you've done already? Just make note. You're just going to have to manually keep track.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, because I'm sorting it by, for me, I'm doing it by price. I just know where I've gone. Like, I know you were asking me the same question.
I'm just writing what my last one is looked at. I'm going.
You just have to choose a way that you're sorting it.
Another question, another thing I want people to be aware of: if you have multi-quantity listings of any kind, multi-variation listings, those are not going to be correct. Those are not going to be corrected by eBay. They're not going to be fixed. There's no way to map the multi-variation listings. They have said that several times in the last few updates. If you have multi-variation listings, you must go in and fix those yourself. I don't know if it's just clothing. I don't know what categories that has affected. Just know that you need to go in and do that. I don't have very many. I don't really do multi-variations as a one-off seller. So
so Rag 1602 Sandy says eBay hasn't been too vocal about what's happening until there's an uproar from the sellers. And honestly, this is why, if you guys have been watching us for any amount of time, we've been on here for about a year, a little over a year and a half now. and we've been around for a long time. We have never been ones to, especially me, to freak out when something goes on, to go along with everybody else and go and act like it's the end of the world. When they made the changes to good till canceled, when they made, when there were issues around promoted listings just recently, we have always been the ones to say, like, listen, calm down. It's not a big deal. Here's why, blah, blah, blah. Let's move on. But the reality is sometimes things actually do go wrong. And sometimes, you have to speak up and you have to put the pressure. If everybody was just like super chill whenever something happened with eBay and we never, put the pressure on them to address certain things, then they never would. So sometimes you have to put that pressure on them. You have to call them out when things are not being done the way they should be. And I've been talking about
this one was a big problem. This one was a big problem. The fact that they were able to fix the search within a few days was something. I'm surprised they were able to do that. And it's not 100% fixed, but they were able to fix the majority of it, for the clothing sellers anyway,
Yeah.
and partially in the shoe departments. Unfortunately, it is still a mess and it's still hurting a lot of people, but I'm glad that they were able to fix part of it. Some people talking about deleting that second size. I haven't done that. Katie has. I guess it's your preference, whatever you want to do. If they go back and map it, you might have a problem.
So Rick, I don't agree with that because they're not going to be taking away the enter. It's just like if I have a new listing, I'm not going to have that second spot down there that has the additional thing. I'm just going to have the size in the required spot. They're not going to, for anybody that's fixed their listings, they're not going to go in and remove what's in the required spot. So I don't see how that would be a problem. So I don't
have any multivariation, but Miss Florida Sunshine says multivariation cannot be fixed when you enter the size on the variation screen. It will not remove the size on the main screen, so it refuses to update the listing and cannot be fixed. That's definitely a phone call to eBay concierge. If you have it, eBay customer service, send emails, whatever you need to do to figure that part out, because they need to be aware of that for sure.
Yeah. So Kara Cooper had said something earlier. I don't know where it's at, but she said, as they add required specifics to other categories.
Who knows?
I mean,
it's been a lot of categories that were hit.
I mean, as far as I know, the additional required categories, they kind of did everything all at once, which was part of the problem. I don't know that there's always going to be a chance they're going to add more required categories.
Who knows? There's no way to know.
But whatever, I want my stuff fixed now, so that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, all right, guys. So we had a question that we got through an email
from Thomas.
That you wanted to address from Thomas in Portland. I don't know, Portland, Oregon, Portland, Maine. Who knows? Hopefully Portland, Oregon, because Oregon's got a little special place in my heart. What did Thomas want to know about that you wanted to address here?
So Thomas had a question about shipping large items and how do I justify charging an expensive shipping cost on something that is only a 3 to 4 pound item, but might be in that huge oversized dimensional pricing category. Here's the thing, I still sell it. So you've got to see if it's worth selling. If it's an item that regularly sells for $20, but the shipping is going to cost you $45 or $50 to go across the country because of the size, then no, that's obviously not going to be worth selling. You just sell it locally or don't choose to sell those items. Those are the options. If it's something that is expensive to ship and it's large, your best bet is almost always going to be FedEx home delivery, FedEx ground. That is the best pricing on their they do have dimensional pricing, but it doesn't hit anywhere near as hard as USPS dimensional pricing does. And depending on where you are in the country, it can be fairly reasonable and where you're shipping to. So the only thing I can say to answer your question is you're going to have to figure out what's worth listing and what's not anymore. There are going to be a number of things that are not going to be worth selling online. If the item is only worth $15, but it's 16 by 16 by 16, you're not going to sell it.
Yeah.
You're just not.
Yep. So Al and Opal want to know, are you two getting sales in clothing? I haven't had any sales since I edited all my listings or offers.
I've had a few sales, but they've almost all been
down.
Vintage. My sales are very, very, very far down right now.
Yeah.
They're down. Here's my reality. My sales numbers are continually up over last year, about 30 to 40% over last year, and they have been for an entire 12 months, or entire 11 months. Right now, my sales are down 30% over last year, and last year was So my in the last 2 weeks, my sales have been impacted greatly. I don't know what the answer is to that. I'm just going to keep listing and you know, and diversify and get more of my eggs out of eBay. I've never said that in the 20 years I've been on the platform. eBay is still my first love. It is still the best platform, even with all these problems. But I'm frankly frightened for the future.
Yeah.
So
I would say, you know, and that's the whole point of the title, you know, this video. It's pivot and attack new challenges, and the whole kind of rocky thing, you know, rising up to the challenge is, you know, use this as a really painful growing pain to find other ways to build your business. And, you know, I'm still just as focused on eBay as I was before, but I'm making sure that I'm adding other platforms. And it would be awesome if someday in the future they weren't, I wasn't dependent on them to earn a living. Because it's never a good idea to be, you know, when it's something that's out of your control, it's never a good idea to have, you know, your complete success dependent on somebody else or another program or another site. So whatever you can do to make it so that you're more, I guess, flexible in the future when things go wrong, because things are always going to go wrong at different times. You can't ever avoid it. You just don't want it to make or break you.
So buy, sell, sparkle, are you guys promoting? Yes, I haven't changed my strategy for selling. I've always keep everything promoted. I always have everything's promoted at trending rates, and I'm always running a sale, and I also have best offer. So I do all of those things. I use all of the tools that eBay offers and gives us. I price my my items high. I've always done that, and I tend to get those prices very frequently. I am a slow dime versus a quick nickel seller. That's just my strategy, and I do very well at it. Right now, none of those things are working. So you know, all I can say is I can only speak for myself. Like I said, I know a lot of people are saying that they're not having any issues. I am hearing far more people saying that they are having issues.
And listen, no matter what, when something goes wrong, there are people who say that their poor sales are because of whatever the current problem or current glitch is. And a lot of times, many of those people are full of it, and they're the same people who always have in their mind bad sales, but somehow the next reason, the next excuse that's not themselves their own bad listing or bad items, they like latch onto that. But when something happens and we are seeing these examples in other sellers who we know personally, who we know what their normal performance is like, who we can trust when they say what's going on with theirs, and then we have our own experience, then we look at it a little bit differently. But yes, some of the people who are complaining about bad sales, I mean, for all we know, they have 27 listings, one picture each, no returns. Like, you know, who knows?
Right, you don't know. I begin to listen when first of all, I know my own business, and Katy knows her business, and we also know several others, you know, larger volume sellers, and we're not the biggest guys on the block. Don't get me wrong. We know that, not even close. But we know people that are bigger sellers than us, or sellers that are on the same level as us, that you know, sell very consistently, that are having some real struggles in this last week. So I know it's not just us. And you know, and I can't imagine that all of a sudden the economy tanked in the last week. You know, and it has nothing to do with what's happened online. But it is.
And Jen says that she feels like there's been something off with eBay for a while now, something besides this. Like, and who knows? Because I mean, all at the same time, there were three major, in my opinion, major things that happened on the site. One was the item specifics going haywire. And going all crazy, and it's not even just one thing, it's the whole item, you know, stuff being missing, but then also the fact that they it's like every single possible option for every gender category, everything's all in every single listing. But then there's also the seller hub, sorry,
not working.
Dana just came
the
seller hub performance graph is totally off. And what that would have to do with item specifics, I don't know, but that happened at the same time. And managed payments, which, you know, first they were saying it's because of the holiday, and then it was because of people's banks, and then it was because of a clearinghouse, and then it was because of who knows what. But those are three, I think, pretty major things all happening at the same time, that don't necessarily seem connected to each other.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with Jen. I agree with what Drop Thread Gorgeous says. Like every time they update the site on the back end, it affects our sales. I've said that for several years. Not minor changes, but whenever there's a major change on the platform where they're doing major coding or something, they do roll it out in sections throughout the servers, and that's just well known that there are several servers right from eBay. I can't give you the specifics. I don't know them. Obviously, if I did, I'd be a millionaire. But it happens, and that's the way it does affect sellers. But the way that they roll it out generally so that it only affects certain pockets at a time, and that makes sense. Right now, it's, it is what it is. So I don't know what's happening.
Focus on your work, get to work, you make things happen.
Change what you can. You can only control what is under your control.
Yep. But I think it's perfectly acceptable to spend a couple of days bitching and whining and complaining, and then you got to set that aside and make things happen.
Suck it up, walk it off.
Suck it up, walk it off. You can still be pissed that things are happening in a certain way. There's nothing wrong with being pissed off about something. But then let's get back to work. Let's focus on other platforms, make those shine. Because let me tell you, I know for you, Mercari and Etsy really saved your sales this week. And that's no joke. So, and then when everything does come back and everything starts, starts going along great on eBay again, bam, you've got these other platforms to add money to your bottom line.
Greg, you sound like my mom. Rub some dirt in it. My mom's a nurse, and when we were kids, you would think the nurse would be the one. It's like the cobbler that has the kids are wearing bad shoes. My mom was like, "Hey, you bleeding? Yeah, suck it up, walk it off. Put some dirt in it." It's exactly what she said. That makes me laugh.
Yeah. All right. So, I sell Sparkle. I used to complain. Now it just drives me a list more. Sometimes you need a little bit of complaining, guys. Sometimes you just need a little bit.
We both had our meltdown last week. We both just spent a couple of days trying to scramble. We were still listing, still working, but we spent some time doing some complaining and whining because there wasn't a lot of information coming at us. Even now, I don't think the information is 100% accurate, but it's better than no information. So we're just going. Yeah. We're doing what we need to do for our businesses, and you should do the same.
Well, and you know what? The people freaked out. There was a lot of outrage over the lack of communication, and guess what happened? They started communicating to us every day. That is a direct response to people being upset that we weren't hearing from them. So listen, sometimes you have to speak up. Sometimes you have to cause a ruckus to get things moving and to get, at the very least, for somebody to just talk to you. But yes, Mary, I don't disagree with you. The info you're getting is PR spin to a certain degree. It absolutely is, because we continue to hear alternative information from other sources at eBay. So whatever, it is what it is. Do what you can, control what you can, speak up when you need to. But let's just keep working. And why don't you come back, go get yourself a snack. It's noon here on the West Coast. Go get yourself a lunch. Go get yourself an early dinner. If you're on the East Coast or somewhere else, maybe you just need a little snacky snack, a little snackety snackle. And then come back to YouTube in 1 hour. So 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. The link is down below. We're going to be on Adam's Exploits Reselling Rhythms show on YouTube in 1 hour. And then again, Friday, No Pants Friday After Dark with Greg, aka DuPage Pick Air. DuPage Pick Air. DuPage Pick Air.
All right, kids.
All right, we'll talk to you later. I'm hungry.
Okay, we'll go grab some
lunch.
Care.
You don't even care.
Nope.
Bye,
guys.